Good morning. Glad to be back with you today. And I want to talk about often I run into people that are stuck. They have a deep faith in Jesus and they have all the information, they're obedient, they work hard, but it still isn't working for them as far as getting rid of maybe the anxiety or the sadness. And so they kind of give up on this kind of faith. And what I want to share is it's a different kind of faith that you need that's actually in Scripture. That God created our brains, that we are more changed and motivated by relational experiences. You can tell me that I'm loved even though I mess up, but I have to experience that from you relationally for me to really get that inside as well as to change some of those deeper parts of who I am. So I want to talk about one aspect of how God created our brains so that it can comfort us and soothe us. And this is the way that he created it. He created us with the capacity that we have the ability in our brains to store emotionally rich and relationally grounded memories of our past successes, a warm embrace, encounter, someone that is for me, that we then can recall. And our brains are designed that when you recall this memory, it is as if you're experiencing it over again in the present. Great design. And so neuroscience calls those evocative memories. And evocative memories are part of what we use as we grow up to comfort and soothe ourselves when maybe we're alone, the relational experiences are not around, and we need that. And so I will attach a paper that explains some of this a little bit further. And the title is Remembering Grace, How God Uses Our Memories to Heal Our Hearts. And so during those times that we are struggling, one aspect, now there are other ways if you've followed along with the Make It Institute on other relational experiences that we can have that will create that healing. But this is one specific one that's more geared to comfort. Paul used this when he came into Macedonia, was overwhelmed. He met with Titus, and then Titus said and reminded him, Paul said, of how the Corinthian church longed for him. That's an evocative memory. And he said a profound thing, and my joy was even greater. Jesus used this principle for defining and the most important part of why he came, his death and resurrection. Instead of giving us an academic paper like I do, he gave us an experience, an evocative memory that we can remember him, the Lord's Supper. It's to be done around a meal. We take the bread, we take the wine, two of the most common things that we will often see in that culture all the time that will remind us of the meaning of his death and resurrection. Mary even used evocative memories. During the time that Jesus was born, it says that Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart, deeply feeling these evocative memories. I think she used them when they then had to run from King Herod to Egypt. And so evocative memories are throughout Scripture. We can even see it in those verses where it says, "Remember the Lord your God," or "I will remember the deeds of the Lord," to have the evocative memories that are very encouraging and soothing for us. Israel nation had 7 major feasts. All these feasts are around remembering either God's provision or how He was there with them, or celebrating His provisions through the harvest. And so it doesn't spell it out, but evocative memories are one of the most powerful ways for us to calm and soothe ourselves when we're going through a difficult time. So, let me give you some practical things that you can do. First of all, think of 3 very intimate, comforting, nurturing moments with God, and 3 with one of your safe friends. That way, you don't have to think of these during the time that you really need to. Second, when recalling these evocative memories, remember them with the 5 senses: what you smelled, what you heard, what you saw. That will deepen it, and that will allow your nervous system to get more connected to them if you have that kind of depth of emotion. When you start feeling overwhelmed in a situation, instead of trying to pray about it and figure it out, and which is all isolated, what you need to do is to first call someone, talk to someone. Our emotions decrease mainly in relationship. If that's not available, then the evocative memories, both with God and with friends, begin to play a big part that I can remember. I remember uh, my days at Houghton College that had some great experiences. And so, times when I'm feeling kind of lethargic and sad, I purposely revisit those. If you want more, those are 3. Um, and let me just give you one more, and then just email me, Scott at makeaninstitute.com, and I'll send you the rest. Probably the one that's most really helpful is at the end of the day before you go to sleep. Reflect over the day and see, was there an evocative memory that you can take in that day that's encouraging. And then the more you take that in, you add to evocative memories that you can draw from. So God created our brains to be able to store these memories. And when we recall them, it's like we get to re-experience them. And they are incredibly comforting. They help us to not feel as fragmented. So utilize evocative memories, just like Jesus did, and Paul did, and Mary. They will be very helpful as you go through challenging times, along with good relationships. So, thanks for being with me. Love to hear any response, and let me know if you want. I have about 5 other ones I can send you.